Hey, 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 welcome back. Welcome back to the Scorpio channel. My name is Laura. If you're new to my channel, I'm going to do a general message for Scorpio. Know that energy, it's fluid. Roles can be reversed. Just interpret the message as it best resonates with you. Also, know on this channel, all my channels, I like to dive deep within the reading. So I do look at everything, but we take time to look at the spiritual blocks and shadows to see how they play it as karmic themes to help you understand why everything's playing out the way that it is. Really important when we're dealing with uncomfortable situations. Sometimes when we had a friend, a close friend, that all of a sudden turns on us, or we're dealing with a bully at work, or we're just being put in uncomfortable situations that push us. We want to know why we're being pushed. What is the significance, right? Sometimes we know, but we don't know how to get unstuck, and that's get unstuck from a perception. See, there's many different realities that play out at one time. When we live in experiences, that karmic loop, it just means you live the same experience over and over and over again with different people, maybe different scenarios, but the karmic theme is always the same. And that theme makes you feel like there's something wrong with you. So, man's made up of half dust, half deity. The deity part of self is the God part of self, which is perfect, the way that you were born, perfect. You're born with everything that you need to manifest. But there's also the dust part of self. And the dust part of self is born into society and families where we form habits and behaviorisms because it's our environment that makes us create certain habits and behaviorisms, right? That's why we're all different. Our perceptions are all different due to the realities that we've lived. So, a lot of times we have trauma that we don't even remember, and that trauma becomes suppressed and then repressed. And that repressed means that it's actually in the cells. It's not just it's not just happening within our experiences. It's actually affecting our DNA, right? So our DNA is affected from our actions and our habits and our behaviorisms. That's what turns on and off our DNA. So that's why sickness and disease is only 5% inherited. So everything that happens in the spiritual realm will eventually manifest, obviously, in the physical realm. We're just unconscious to what it is. We just see that certain things don't work out. So it's all about integrating and then transmuting the negative energy. It means you have to do something with that negative energy. If you don't and you just know what you did, it's not enough. You have to actually embody a new consciousness so that you see yourself differently, you see the situation differently. Otherwise, that karmic loop is going to play out again. So that means if you're in a relationship with someone toxic and it just ends and you don't really understand what happened, you'll wind up a lot of times going back into a second karmic relationship that looks very similar. And then again, till people eventually say, well, I'm not going to date anymore because I don't trust. And that's a reality. So again, there's many different realities that play it at one time. You may say, no, there isn't. Everyone lives this way. Everyone has spiritual blockages because everybody forgets that they have spiritual sovereignty. And that spiritual sovereignty, again, is that God part of self that makes you supernatural, that allows you to be a God of your life. Satanism is the fact that you are God to your life, and it's all about ego. It's all about what I want, what I want, what I want. Not so I can buy a person. It's the perception becomes I'm better than you. I need to elevate myself. That's what happens with that type of energy. Spiritual energy, real spiritual energy is the energy of unconditional love, which is I want what's best for everyone. It's like it's unity consciousness. There is no division because we all have spirit inside of us. So it's all about realizing that there is no separation from you and your creator. When you live the karmic loops, you're saying to yourself that there is. When you live a certain reality that undermines you, makes you angry, you're saying that it is. But God says it's not. That's the reality you're stuck in due to family, environments, whatever. So I've been starting every reading off with just looking at you, not your person or the person that you're connected to, just what you need to look at. And what I've learned from my own readings, these readings like a lot of times unfold within like 3 4 weeks, 5 weeks, few months down the line. I don't know if you noticed that, because spirit has no time. So you may need this energy for a few weeks, may need this energy for a few months, you may need this energy for the entire year. Only you guys know. It's a collective reading. We do readings every day, so it's not, or almost every day. So it doesn't mean that you don't need more things. Spirit says we need a lot of things. God's all knowing, we're not. We're down here to learn that there's no separation. That means living a lot of the same experiences over and over and over again, so you get it right. Hopefully we'll break some karmic cycles here today. Now, I just tend to pull and then read them separate, then read them all together. I don't know. It's a process. It's like I'm making it up as I go along. It just tends to work out. It's just intuitive, It's the higher self. All right. Put your hand on your heart and ask yourself, what do you know about the situation? And don't deprive yourself of the simple pleasures in life pursuit of your goals. This is remaining lighthearted during stressful times will help keep you in the flow. Your soul's main objective in the universe experience is to return to your ultimate sovereignty, which is what I've been saying, which is your infinite essence, which is the essence of God, the essence of love, the essence of the universe. It's all the same energy, so you actually have the same energy inside of you. And so do I. Speaking, listening, leadership, and career change. All right. This maybe sounds specific, but what I feel is, like your career is changing and it's going more. You may be a coach or an influencer, something like along those lines. And so you're moving into a leadership role because maybe no one else has spoken the way that you do or has educated the way that you do, or you're bringing in different healing modalities that no one's ever done. It's again, but you're moving into, instead of the hands-on practical, it's more of education, speaking. And so it also is like, and I say that because there's a career change. And so Spirit says there's a lot of things that are changing for you. So first of all, if you're like I have to work all the time, I have to achieve my goals, like to the point that there's nothing else, you're not balanced. And if you're not balanced, you're actually slowing the process. God says you're not in charge of how fast we get there, and you're not in charge of how we get there. You're only in charge of what you want to create, what you want to become. But my plan's better than yours. You're limited. God says, I'm all knowing, and I'm inside of you. So when you push and push and push and push, it's like God says, do you let me get in? Jesus is supposed to be taking the wheel, and like you just drove off the cliff. Why? Oh, I was trying to make it happen. I wanted to make it happen. God says, only in the now do I give you divine guidance. Gut, intuition, inner knowing, the path unfolds while you're on it, and you are not in charge of how fast and how it's done. So the career change might have like a lot to do with learning new things, not just about speaking, but listening to direction. taking direction, and that's the thing. It's going to help you return back to the energy of unconditional love. So you have wounds. Everybody has wounds, but you have wounds in identity of who you perceive that you are. And that's not because there's the environment created them, that maybe who you dated created them. So and other people, and that's through hurt over time. So only God can change your mind and your heart by bringing you the people, the situations, and the experiences that do so. And the path unfolds while you're on it, and the universe always brings you what you need. So as one door closes, another door opens. So Spirit saying you have to like relax, and it's put your hand on your heart and say, what do you know about the situation? And what you know is that you're supported, that you're loved, that it's going to happen, that no one can stop you, that only you can stop you, that whatever it is, that God's plan is the best plan, and that you're safe, that you're supported. I feel like that's really what it is that you see. And Spirit saying that's healing. That's true healing when you never had support before, especially when you're being directed. So Spirit saying again, stressful times, you're learning something new, there's a career change that's stressful, but then when there's a dynamic of other things, right, that happen at one time. So I feel like a person might be coming back into your life, or you've been in a connection that's like difficult. So Spirit's saying it's like part of, we put so much emphasis on relationship when we're not on our path fully. I feel like once you get into your path more, you're going to be a lot more confident, and everything that this person does or doesn't do isn't going to trigger you as much. I don't know why I'm feeling this, but I always sense things more psychic than cards, okay? It's just the way it works with me. And I feel as if it's like almost like by you like being like, I don't care one way or the other. It's like it drives this person crazy. They like it more because they have attachment issues. So part of your healing is, I feel like, to heal certain codependent things. And that's again because you're becoming yourself. This is leading into a place of leadership. Leadership is like that, especially if it's like a creative field, something that's different, something that people don't do. It's like it took confidence. It took confidence. So walking into a new version of yourself, that's a big deal, Spirit saying. So I feel like your energy is vibe high. Now, does that mean everybody's liking it? A lot of times, no. But let's look at some of your wounds that you're being expected to heal at this given time. I know what I felt. But let's see. Devaluation wound. Okay, the wound shows up as feeling less than, often being idolized then devalued. So again, see that? Do you see that? Being idolized then devalued. That's very narcissistic. When someone puts you on a pedestal, they love bomb you, everything is great, and then all of a sudden it's like it's definitely going to trigger abandonment. It leads to self-criticism, fear of rejection, trouble accepting love, worthy, and feelings of, again, people pleasing, self sabotaging behaviorism, constant need for reassurance. And that would happen if a person like abandoned you like that. Because again, where first feeling I got was narcissist, because that's what narcissists do. They come in super fast. They become everything you want them to become. They've studied you. You feel like it's the closest relationship. They put you on a pedestal so that you trust them and build an emotional bond with them and drop you. And the devaluation is what does it. It's a trauma. And unless that trauma is integrated and really healed, that's a trauma that will continue to play out where you're like, people, it's not just the boyfriend or a person I date, it's everyone that devalues me, that acts as if there's something wrong with me, that I'm disposable, that they don't, that's a narcissistic trait. And understand this. You're a highly sensitive person, that means. That means you have a lot of light and a lot of love to give. And people see, but I feel like you learned. So you're like nobody's dummy. You don't just give it all away. So when people see you have a boundary, when people see that you actually have an identity that's not of the light, well, then that's, like you said, that they want to pull you off your, they want to tear you down. Projection from other people. So other people tend to project their wounds onto you. And so having a parent, by the way, that devalued you, and that could be made you feel like you were not good enough, not worthy. And that's, they hold back affection. They hold back, resources, make you feel as love is transactional or just kind of like a bully. Unfortunately, a lot of people that grow up with parents that make them feel that way have that. And then what happens is they go out into the world and they're like, I don't get it. I try and be nice, but I don't get treated nice. Everything that how the person treats me is what they are accusing me of, is what they're actually doing to me. And so that's a form of gaslighting. And so if you don't trust yourself and are not strong within yourself, you say, well, why does a person do that? People get triggered all the time. And so the older that people get, the more fragmentation they get if they don't heal. They just keep attracting those same experiences, that so there's a real part of them that feels I can't have. So the thought of you having, the thought that your life is better, well, it makes people angry because that their God inside of them says, well, you can have that too, but there's the belief is like, I can't have it because I just live that way. So hurt people. So it's, again, the projection is that, like, you're to make you feel as if you're a bad person, where you're not a bad person. And that's why Spirit's saying, if you grew up in an environment where that was a thing, where your parent like yelled at you and they projected what they would have done, not really what you've done, it creates a lot of hypervigilance. So the hypervigilance is just like hyper aware of other people's moods, of other people, sensing them, like their thoughts, their feelings, and then you're not in your body anymore. You're not realizing you pay more attention to their needs, where they're like, I'm not paying that much attention to your needs. You're doing it because it's a survival mechanism, and you're like, well, that's a nice thing to do. Well, God says it's an overly nice thing to do that feels right to you because you were taught that love was transactionary, we said. So it's actually a wound and you've disguised it, but you get bad results from it, where people devalue you, makes you feel like there's something wrong with you, where they're projecting their anger, their ugliness, their toxicness onto you. That's what it is. It's like you take a salt bath. It's like, and you say, why is it happening? God says, so you know your worth. But you're going to see that soon because you're getting a new job. That's what it showed me. And it's in a leadership position. God says, well, you might not, like everything's healing. So it doesn't mean it's going to feel comfortable for you. It's just like when you get a soulmate and it's a build a person, build a bitch, you get that person that doesn't know how to do anything. it's like, but they love you. They come into your life and they try, but that like you get one of those, which is, this is a learning process. And that's what it is. Everything's a learning process. And so, hypervigilance was this, where when you were made to feel not good enough, not worthy, and then going into relationships, and we can see again, that's psychic trauma, by the way. So you become very psychic from that, because you had to have, like, you're like, I kind of feel like these people are like lying to me. And God, that's the God inside of you that's saying that. And you're like, but no, because everything that I'm seeing, why is everyone like that? Why is everybody like that? Everyone's jealous. It's like if people aren't living happy and where they can sustain themselves because their cup is full, then they're continuously looking inside of other people's rose gardens. When they have a beautiful lot of their own, they just don't plant any seeds in it. They don't have an identity. It's your passion. It's you know, your interests, your the things that stir up your soul, that you feed, that is what is the food to make flowers grow, to make your garden grow, and that's the thing. And people don't do it, but then they judge you for doing it because they see the end result, and then they tend to judge, or they tend to, but it's their anger. So you're going to have to be strong, Spirit says, and don't let anyone take this opportunity from you, where you're like, well, it was a good opportunity, but Mary Jane didn't clap. Can you get over that? Joe didn't even say anything. And God says, yeah, because Joe was mad, because he wanted an opportunity. And Mary Jane, well, she had an opportunity, but she went with Billy. And Billy, Billy was a narcissist that just got out of a relationship and never really liked Mary Jane. So Mary Jane gave up her opportunity. So, people tend to see things from different perceptions. And then when they see you have something, so God's saying it's going to do, well, you got to walk into it like you own it, like it's yours. And remember, that's healing for you, because you might be someone that's really humble. And the Spirit says, don't let anyone take it from you. Like victimhood is like, people project their shit, and then you become hyper vigilant, do what they want you to do, and then you're in the victim seat. Like, well, why did that happen? And Spirit says, because you lose yourself. Hey, sorry, Carol. I'm like, so the Spirit says, so that's what you have to look out for, because you're walking into a new opportunity. And so in walking into a new opportunity, don't care what other people think. Just here I am. I'm enjoying my time. I don't care. You don't care what anyone, whether they like it, they don't like it, you don't care. And that might be something that's hard for you, because you're like looking around, looking for validation, looking for reassurance, which Spirit said that was in there. That was in the wound card. So we don't want to look at that. No, we don't need validation. Just be happy. People, believe me, all eyes are on you anyway. Give it, so you don't have to do anything except for just live. That's the best revenge, when you let God work its glory through your broken, then other people tend to see. Then they can project all they want, but they look stupid. All right, so let's see what's going on in the connection. That's important information. Okay, let's just start with the hidden truths. Like, I don't know, like, what does this person think now? What do they want now? Do they want anything? I can't stop thinking about you. I feel like the more that you get into whatever you're doing, the more you cut your energy off. The more that you cut your energy off, the more that this person wants you. I don't like that. I don't like that because you wind up being in a cat and mouse like type thing. I couldn't let you get close to me. This person's mad, is what I'm feeling. I'm feeling like they're mad. They're a little like they're more mad at themselves. And that's because you were right here. You were right here. You were right here. And it's like, and I didn't like I didn't see what I see now. I didn't take advantage. I didn't. So it's like I want to know why you couldn't let me get close. That's what your question should be. I left when I saw you with someone. So for some of you might have, like this person was sitting on the fence for a long time. And I feel like for some of you, you might not even dated, but you were like, I'm going to make this person think I'm dating because, they're not moving. They're not doing anything. And the thing is, because they wouldn't give you anything. They just kind of were holding on. It was my fault, but I blamed you. And this person stays sometimes away to and thinking about you, but they're afraid to contact you. So, and it's because you were right there. I didn't treat you well. I know that you didn't, that I didn't rather. And, so they're thinking about you. Let's look at a different deck to see what this person, I want to know why, but we'll get to that. There's so much I want to tell you. I feel like this person, they would definitely apologize if they talked to you. They would say, why they couldn't get close to you, and that they didn't really let you in, and that they're regretful, obviously, for that. I also feel like this person would say that they changed a lot. I have sexual fantasies about you. Like I said, I feel like the more that you pull away, the more that this person wants you. But my fear is, again, when you get back with this, if you were to get back with this person, they would do the same thing. They would pull away. Well, see, please be patient with me. I don't like that energy. You know why? Because it's like, again, it's another way of procrastination, sitting on the fence, and I'm just saying because it's how it would make you feel in relevance to your career. Like, remember, a person that has a life, their life has to be balanced. And so this person didn't treat you well, and they're asking you to be patient with them, which means that do you really know what you want? Because when people know what they truly, really want, they put effort into it. If anything, it's like when you really want something, you lie. Have you worked that job before? Yes. I remember. I remember I was a hairdresser. I lied. Have you ever done color? Yep. Fucking almost burned that lady's fucking head off. Literally. And her hair did not look good at first. It was and we eventually got it. My point is, you lie. When you really want something, you go after it. You try. And the whole sitting on the fence and stuff is just I want you to do all the work is the energy. And that now it could be because they're unsure. You deserve better than me. And it's because this person doesn't have see, it triggered me in the aspect of Like you're just not moving. You're sitting on the fence, and so they're unsurety. But it's because this person knows that like you're gonna get to know me and not stick around. Because I know that you deserve a lot better than me. So this person doesn't like who they are. So they don't put any time or energy really into anything. They might have had a bunch of bad relationships, but nevertheless, that's a person that isn't healed. So they can have sexual fantasies about you. Yeah, that's sex. I'm attracted to you. We may even have a connection, but if I don't feed it because I have intimacy issues, then, the reason why is because I'm codependent and you're not. Really? I mean, that's why this person sees I was pretending to be someone else. Like, so how can I really let you in? I've created intimacy issues because, I sold myself as someone that was successful. I rented a Maserati. I rented the house, but I really work at like 7-Eleven, like I'm getting $11 an hour, whatever. It's like, so of course you would be disappointed. You'd also look at this person like, what the hell? Who are you? Who are you? Like, and this person would be is mortified. So it's like, how do you come back from that? Again, so that it's like, I'm going to keep you like this far. I'm also going to act like I don't care and devalue you, hoping that you're going to give me. Maybe you don't know your value. Hey, that worked for the person. They wouldn't have done it if it didn't work at one point. And a lot of people just assume, well, the person that like called me, like, why would they do that? It's not that it's intentional because this person doesn't believe that they're worthy of love is what you see. And that's because they don't like who they are. So they could never treat you well. It's like, and it's the best that they could do is sit on the fence where you'd have to like take the lead. They don't really know how is what it looks like. And so destiny is taking us down two different paths. And I feel like that's pretty much like what you know too. It's like I could never be with this person. And it's no, because it's like I said, you don't even know who they are. You fell in love with a person that doesn't exist. It's who they emulated, who they want to be. That takes a lot of effort. I just have to tell you, that takes a lot of effort to create the illusion. And it also, you're not emotionally getting anything from that. So the only emotional, well, let's see. That's again, because now we understand why the person did what they did. Well, what have you been doing with you? Because if you're not like emotionally getting like fulfilled, how are you emotionally getting fulfilled? Because everybody, that's like saying going on a diet, and you're like, I'm never gonna eat whatever it is, and then like you're like, okay, tomorrow. You know what I mean? A lot of times people he can stick to a diet for a certain amount of time, regimen, because there's an end goal, right? With just holding back and never getting joy, real, where you're really able to fulfill yourself because you're so busy creating illusions of who you want people to be, you're in your addictions then is what my concern is. So this person takes risks. They can create again a lot of illusions. We see that. I feel like this person has an anger issue, and they would have an anger issue because their life would not be working if they're creating illusions. They're not coming from their true self. See, the true self is the higher self. When you're creating illusions, you're not present. You're in the illusion. And that's the thing. So this person like gets in their own way. They would think that they can't have a relationship. They would think that they couldn't hold down a job. But if you're so busy doing that, like I said, and you're not really letting people get close to you, then you're getting your your fulfillment from being a martyr, which is I give all my energy to other people. It looks, again, creates a self image that I want to create, that I'm a nice person, but it makes me feel purposeful. And then I also get a lot from sex. So, meaning from like outside sources, not one person. So, which makes this person always be the victim because, it's everything. There's nothing real. There's nothing real. It's sex, it's addiction, and to a certain point, and then there's nothing. That's the thing with lust. It's like it goes from hot and heavy to like, because it's not real. It's surface. It's not, and this person can't sustain, and you can't sustain because they're bad habits. Got bad habits. A lot of bad habits, apparently. So, and you say, what causes that? Well, they have a root chakra imbalance, and that root chakra, it means that there's a lot of fear there from childhood. There's a lot of fear. It's how they condition themselves. And if a child is in fear to the point that they're not creating themselves and they have so much trauma, like I was going to say ancestral trauma, like where their parents were abusive, that they have fragmentation there, and that's detachment, disassociation. It doesn't feel good. Like a person's going to feel really tired and lethargic. So the sex and the alcohol creates that serotonin kick that gets this person up. So it's almost like they're living like really from a low. This person needs deliverance healing. I believe they have attachments attached to them, and that's what keeps the person stuck in that mindset. It's a stronghold where they don't believe that they're loved. They don't believe that, and the thing is, their actions are in alignment with that. So, but at any time that they could change that. I say it's a stronghold because no one wants to be unloved. No one wants that. It's like no one wants to be a failure. No one wants to be shamed. They just, again, do it. It's like almost like a person that's really stuck in the addiction. And so you can't do anything with that. That's why they come across a little bit lazy. It's like stuck and stupid. That's what that is because you're not grounded. You're spiritually sick. And I knew it. It's from the trauma. So that's what this person it's like they're in that. That's what they're in. And so it's like you don't want to deal with a person like that. It's a narcissist. They can't see when a person gets attachments, they can't sustain themselves after a while. They don't believe that they can have the relationship. And so they'll make you do everything, and they'll pick someone that they perceive has a good life, but then when their life doesn't match, because no one can sustain somebody else. If you actually love the person and you were to help them, you would lose yourself in them and lose whatever you have. And that's the thing. So this person gets into relationships with people, it gets like that. They drain the person and they don't want the person. And then it creates a lot of drama because it's like who the hell wants to be with someone that is like, I helped you the whole time. It was my money, it was my time, it was my energy, because you couldn't sustain yourself. And they can't sustain themselves because life looks like this, like a roller coaster. As soon as they get a good thing, they self-sabotage. And that's what a stronghold looks like. And that's when a person is living from their addictions. And it's created from the inner child trauma that's never healed and just continues to play out over and over and over and over and over again. So you have to say, God, why did I attract this person into my life? And Spirit said, well, we saw some already, again, with your wounds, what you're transcending. We just didn't look at your inner child wounds. So let's take a peek at the inner child wounds. And we already know how you're going to transmute it because Spirit said healing, but we're still going to pull cards in the end for more alchemy. All right. So that's one. What is that? All right. So what do we got? We got vulnerability. We have neglect. We have water. We have time and attention. Source. Gifts. And friendship. And I never think that this is a good friendship card. I think it's like friendship, not real friendship, you know? So neglect could just be emotional neglect. It could be maybe your parents didn't really put that much stock into your education. It could be anything. But the neglect a lot of times comes out as, emotional. And I say that because the vulnerability card there, not feeling safe to open up emotionally. Now, does that mean that that happened from your family? It could have happened from a frenemy at a young age. It could have happened from, or it could have happened from your family a little bit where you showed some vulnerability and the parent was like, oh, stop it. It was not really that serious. Get over it, and just taught you not to like express, your emotions, to like not really deal with it. And so it wasn't safe to be to feel emotional. And so that type of trauma, and then having a friend that also is like kind of mean to you, and then you tell them, hey, like you're fucking mean, and then they're like, get over it. It's like, so you're like kind of continuing getting this energy like your feelings don't matter, like you don't matter. It's not safe to be vulnerable. It's not safe to open up. It's not safe for me to share my feelings. And if anything, if you showed that to this person in the beginning, they were running around with a lot of other people. I'm sure that they didn't care. Like I said, I think that they thought that they wouldn't. The time and attention is obvious. It's like, and your parent could have just been like working all the time. It's not like an abusive thing, doesn't need to be an abusive thing. They could have been wrapped up in a relationship, and they remember our parents are growing up the same time that we're growing up. They're just older, and they're making mistakes too and dealing with their life. So not giving the time, attention, especially if their life was hard. If they were a single parent and they had to work and money, life. So it's not all the time a blame game, but not getting and not having that support is crucial for kids. And because they need guidance, they need to feel loved, they need to feel supported, they need to believe that they can do it, especially when the world and other kids are telling them that they can't. It's like they need that. It's like where instead you're told it's not safe to be vulnerable, it's not safe to express yourself. So understand that made you go very like inside yourself because it didn't make you feel safe outside. So you really internalize. So whether you knew it or not, you were with God because God's inside of you as a gift of the Holy Spirit, and God's always listening. So you had became very intuitive, where again, that's how intuition works. It's through that higher self, that channel. And so, and it made you feel safe to go inside. And I say that because gifts, psychic gifts, spiritual gifts come from that. Why it's like, because I don't feel safe emotionally. I don't have anyone. And God says, you're never alone. I'm always inside of you as the gift of the Holy Spirit. The poem Footprints proves that. Those are my footprints. You were going through a rough time. I got you through it. You don't know how you got through it. I got you through it. I bring you people, situations, experiences. I'm inside of you. I'm outside of you. I know exactly what you need. So understand it's safe to be vulnerable by expressing yourself, by actually the energy that you're about to step into, Spirit says. That's how you can show vulnerability to other people, through putting yourself out there through your uniqueness. And Spirit says through your second chakra. Again, the second chakra is the water element. We go with the flow of life. It's a passion for life. It's our emotional center. You, again, suppressed within that center. And so, again, blocked And so if we're blocked a little bit, we might want to control a little bit. We might have a little bit of OCD behavior, needing to like control or clean or to like continuously move, where spirit's saying it's like the anxiety like does that. So to go with the flow of life is through your passion, through becoming yourself, being vulnerable, is huge for intimacy, right? Intimacy at its basic level is trust. So if you're not able to be vulnerable, you're not going to be able to get close. You don't feel safe. So, not having the time and space and not feeling comfortable with yourself. So it wasn't like a major trauma, but there was still, where you didn't feel comfortable. And the spirit says, so you would still need to transmute the negative energy. You can't just leave it like that. Spirit says you're doing that now, but then it's also, you have to alchemize the energy, and that's how you do transmute it. You turn the pain into power. You transform it. And spirit says so that you can walk in and see that, you're fulfilling your promise. Like we said, this is the stage that you're about to walk into. And spirit says your boundless opportunities are going to come to you. So you don't have to worry about money. You might be like, oh, there's no money. And God says money has no energy except for the energy that you give it. So if it's slow, you have to be in a place of faith and understand that and stay true to yourself. God says, remember, I'm the one that's in charge of how we get there and how many opportunities. So never again push, because you're letting go of the old life. That person was a connection to how you used to feel about yourself, maybe. Again, and not maybe not even meaning to feel that way. It was suppressed. No one walks around saying, I feel that way. Is they had a friend that did that. They had a past relationship do that. They had a family member do that. No one's perfect. Every relationship, if you stay friends with them, will betray you over time. Whether that's they didn't show up for me, they should have showed up, they didn't come through, and because God says, only I'm perfect. So when you become your best version of yourself, you are supported. It doesn't matter whether the friend shows up, whether the friend you love the friend for who they are, not for the fact of what they can do for you. It's like it's and you're able to because your cup is full. That doesn't mean that you let people take advantage of you. What that means is I can love that person, but I also know who they are, and that's the way that you do let go of the past. It's like where you're becoming yourself. So that's the way that God changes your mind and your heart. You wouldn't be able to do it. You'd have to step into the new version of yourself. So Spirit says, don't forget to make time. Again, sacred space. It's through meditation, twice a day. I always say the Silva Ultramind method, the ESP Ultramind method. It's a business system, but it gets you down to the theta level of your mind. That's how you connect to the higher self, the God part of self. And so where you condition yourself, because why, even though you have a good connection, we said that you have a good connection, but it's a new job, new life, a little bit more anxiety. So a little bit more guidance, Spirit says. Remember, I'm the one that's running the show. So you should check in with me more than you check in with yourself, God says. Because again, if we have a good connection, you can go with the flow. It's not about changing other people, it's about changing yourself all the time. All the time, so that you can evolve into the best version of yourself. That's what it's about. God says, pull two of these, which is unconditional love. See, you're evolving back to its original state of unconditional love, which is the energy of God. I told you, the energy of the universe. So Spirit says, your heart is free from resentment towards others. You open your eyes and your heart and discover the light and the beauty in every being, that you are aware that suffering can cause distress and hurt in people, which is this person, and that you see the pure child in everyone and you need to practice forgiveness. And that's like, so maybe is again having a friend or a relative that didn't, you were still a little bit angry, and then it continued to play out with friends, and then this person made you feel this way. And so you've had people make you feel undervalued. Now you're again walking into the best version of yourself, and you can leave all that behind because when you figured out the secret, they haven't. So they're going to continue to project or be mad or look until they actually heal themselves. So it's going to require you, again, to be very strong. There's a reason why people in Hollywood a lot of times don't talk to people. They're not as friendly. And the reason why is because we ever see someone that's super nice, they don't get treated very nicely. And so again, I'm going to treat myself. They go a little bit overboard. We don't need to go that overboard, but to find a happy medium, right? Return to the heart, God says. That's what it's about. The Spirit says, breathe light and stick to the essentials for your soul, the present, and be in the present moment, because only in now do you get divine guidance. Calm your thoughts, focus on your heart, and find space to be where your light and greatness are. Find peace and inner silence. So again, we give and receive of love through our free will. And Spirit says you're being guided to that. That's going to help you return to your original state of unconditional love. So you will transcend whatever hurts, and you'll be able to forgive. And I believe that that's really how people forgive. A lot of times people can't forgive when the trauma is so bad. And it's because they're like, I keep seeing the same thing. You damaged me. You did this to me. Now every relationship I'm looking for it. So what transcends the limitations of that trauma is, again, getting a better connection to God, and that's through your purpose, your path, your unique individuality. That's why we're here. We're here to give and receive of that love, and that allows you to stay safe and go with the flow of life through the passion of your life. If you don't know what it is, then it's your job to find it, because that will be the path that unfolds. Does that mean that you never need therapy? You need a lot less of it. You need a lot less of it, because again, God can change anything, and it knows what your spiritual blocks are, and you see it transcend it. If you need a therapist, believe me, Spirit will bring you. For the therapist, you just wind up meeting somebody that you resonate with. Like I said, healing's a path. And if you just went to therapists, a lot of times you wouldn't see anything, because that you'd be waiting for permission. A lot of times healing is all about creating a new version of yourself, metamorphosing, right? Because we have to become the phoenix many times within our lifetime. We burn, crash and burn to rise again, to recreate ourselves. That's what life is. And it's not, you don't stay the same. And we all make mistakes, and we all tend to see ourselves not exactly the way that God made us. The point is that the path gets you to see the true version of who you were supposed to be and the benefits that come with that. Otherwise, why would you even want to heal unless you were getting something out of it, right? It's like are you getting a good relationship? Are you getting more money? I mean, why do we do this spiritual work? I mean, to be just a good person. It's like, let's face it, everybody has an ego. If you're not making any money and you're going to be alone, are you going to want to be a good person? There's going to be a sense of, no, you're not even going to want to be here. So, it's healthy to have a little bit of an ego where you want those things. The problem is when people haven't healed, that ego is where that person was in the story, where they were creating illusions to try to make people like them because they didn't like themselves. And that's sad. That takes the person further away from who they are. All right, I'm going to leave that there. You let me know how you resonated, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.